So it's time to capture the output of our programs. So we can have a program we've run through, we've debugged, we've gone through all the steps, and we actually have a final working product and saying, hey, this is it, this is my final program. But we want to capture the output and add that into a document so we could show someone else or even ourselves later on the nature of the program running. We don't want to just run the program every single time. We want to see what the application does. It'd be great to just look at a document. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to capture the output. That's the whole point. So let's open up Genie, which is our integrated development environment. So here we go. And if we open up one of our recent programs, which is simple Hello World, there it is. Now this one's a little bit special. Not only does it display Hello World on the screen, it actually displays the Java version as well. So this is a nice tester. So let's do a quick compile. And there we go, it's working, and we will run the program. So there we go, it's Hello World, and my JVM, or Java Virtual Machine, is 18.0.2.1. So we know the program is working and it's using the correct version of Java. So how could we go about capturing this output and adding it into a document? Well, let's do that really quickly. Let's do the basics of doing that capture really quickly, and then we'll write a program which is a little bit longer. This is pretty short. It's only got 2 lines on the screen. So we'll add something in a little bit more. So how do we capture the output and add that into a document? Well, it actually is as simple as I just said. We're going to capture, i.e. copy the output, and we're going to put it or paste it into a document. So let's open up a standard word processor that comes with Windows. So that would be Wordpad. So on the Macintosh, that would be TextEdit. So let's find Wordpad. I think Wordpad and TextEdit are very similar to each other. I think on the Mac, TextEdit is a little bit stronger, whereas in Windows, it's a combination of Wordpad and Notepad. Those two together are the equivalent of TextPad. But here we go. So we've got a simple document, and we want to take our output from the program and put it inside. So here's how simple as that could be. Go over to Genie, we'll run our program. And in this output window, we only want to capture the first 2 lines. The bottom part, which says program exited with code 0 and press any key to continue, that's really just the window itself, the command window, telling you that, hey, the program finished, there's no problems, that's the program exited with the code 0. And it's telling you if you want to close this window and return back to Genie, you press any key to continue. Something to note is in Genie, the run icon, which was the gears, is now a stop sign. So really what that means is if I hit the stop sign in Genie, this application window would actually stop as well. So there's 2 ways that we could actually 3 ways that we can close this program. Number 1, in here we could press any key to continue. We could hit the close button for that window, or we could even hit the stop button for Genie. So just to show you, I just hit the stop button and that window disappeared. So I'm just going to run it one more time. So how do we capture the output and put that into our document? There's as simple as it is. I can't believe I've been speaking for a few minutes just about that. So in the command window, literally just highlight it, and if you go over to this menu in the top corner and go down to edit, there's a copy option. So that's really all we're going to do. But you will notice on the copy option, you can also press enter. So what that means is over in this window, we just highlight, so click and drag and highlight the parts that we want to copy and press enter. Nothing else is indicated, but if we go over here to our document and we click on the paste icon, there's our output. So that's as simple as it could possibly be. There's a few more things to look at, but that's really taking the output from your program and pasting it into the document. And in this document, then you do a file save as. We'll save it as, let's see, let's give it a name such as, let's assume this is for an assignment. So assignment 1 dot whatever it happens to be. So it's now saved. So this is now a document that we could use to capture multiple runs of our program. So let's say the program itself would ask the user for some information, do a calculation, and display the result. And we want to test it running it 3 or 4 times. We would run the program the first time, capture the output, paste it into the document, run the program, paste, and so on. So it would actually be a combination of steps. And that's how we could capture multiple runs of the program. So we don't run the program multiple times and store them into one big massive window. We just run it, copy each window as the program goes through. That's really what we're going to do. In terms of what we save this document as, so you notice when I hit File or File Save As, there's a couple of different formats that are probably okay. So rich text document, or RTF, that's probably one of the most common ones for very simple programs like Wordpad or TextEdit on the Macintosh. There's the open document format, which I can't remember what that actually represents, the open document format. But almost all word processors like Microsoft Word understand that. But the common ones to save, let me just add a note here. So RTF, so .rtf, that's the rich text format. So this is actually good. So Wordpad, Word, and even TextEdit on the Mac understand this format. There is doc, or also known as docx. This is the Microsoft Word format, so that's the Word format. And I think it's .otd, so open document. Let's actually see what that is. Let's save this as the open document format. There we go. Yeah, ODT. So almost all word processors understand this format as well. But the common ones are these two, the RTF and the doc, or the docx. Now, what is the purpose of saving it into this document versus just putting it right into Genie and having it as a text file? Well, the benefit of putting it into a document like this is you can format it. So you will notice you could highlight this and you can change fonts, and let's choose that font just for the heck of it. So you could also bold things if you wanted to, although this format I just chose is already bolded, so let me try another one. Let's try this. I wonder if we can actually unbold that. Yeah, so that's the whole purpose of putting it into a word processor document. But let me delete this, and we are going to close this one down. I'm going to start from fresh and start everything all over again. So no need to save that. So we'll close this, and we'll close Genie. We're going to start a brand new program from scratch that's going to be more than a screen's worth, just to see how do we copy more than one physical screen's worth of stuff, and what does it mean to try and copy everything at the same time. So let me just close down Genie. And let's write a program that displays a lot of content out to the screen. So I'm going to call this one repeat phrase. So let's make sure we save it to my Java programming area. I'll call this one repeat phrase.java. So repeat phrase. Repeat a single phrase multiple times on the screen. Public class repeat phrase. Public static void main string args. You will probably memorize this phrase, I would hope so. Well, let's put the right braces in there. All right, so let's try and compile this program. It doesn't do anything, but it should compile with no errors. And you should always build on a success. So I'm going to build on this success. If I run this program, nothing gets shown on the screen. Beautiful. So how do we repeat a phrase? Well, let's store the phrase. So the phrase to repeat would be, well, when you learn how to type, this is a common phrase. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So this phrase technically includes all the alphabetic letters in the English alphabet, A through Z, in a nice happy way instead of typing in ABC. So it's learning how to type is a nice phrase. So let's repeat this phrase 20 times. So this should show this phrase, a quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, 20 times on the screen. So let's compile it. Hopefully there's no errors. And let's run it. There we go, 20 times. Beautiful. So now we want to capture this output and put it into a document. All right. Well, it doesn't look exciting enough. It doesn't look exciting enough. I want a phrase that at least goes onto a second screen in the output window. I mean, we could stretch the output window and make it bigger, but really what I want is a lot of output. So I'm going to press enter here. Instead of just 20, let's change it to 200. So 200 quick brown foxes. Let's run it again. And you will see I'm now scrolling up and down. There's a lot of content here. There's 200 lines, at least 200 lines. Well, actually, exactly 200 lines, because the bottom part we ignore. So this is what I want to capture and put into my output document. So I'm going to leave this window up and running. Go over here, bring up Wordpad. On the Macintosh, it would be TextEdit. So you'd go to the Go applications and bring up TextEdit. And here, let's start off our output document. I'll copy the output soon, but I'm going to prepare my document. And let's see. So this one, we'll call it Comp 1130, Assignment 1. And let's see, my name. Very proud of my name. And let's move back over here. So now we're going to run this a few times. Well, 2 times really. One with the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, and then we'll change the phrase and run it again. So we're going to have 2 runs of our program. So run number 1 will be just that, that phrase. So I could, if I wanted to, sort of click over here and then hopefully scroll up high enough and think that I've captured everything. I might not have. I mean, there's 200 of these things. I don't know if I've gone. All the lines are the same. So there's another way instead of using the mouse to highlight. If you click on the menu and go to Edit, you can click on Select All. So even on the Mac in the terminal window, there's something similar where you can select all the content. And you can see everything gets highlighted. Everything in this run of this window, everything just got highlighted. And I can go back over here and select Copy. So that'll copy everything. Now I can come over here to the document and I can paste it. So I've got everything copied over. Let me delete this stuff over here. Now I've got 200 lines. 200 lines of output. I'm just scrolling up and down. There's a lot of content here, a lot of content. So let's run it again. So let me go all the way to the bottom. I'm scrolling all the way to the bottom. And now let's add run number 2. So let's change the phrase. Let's change the phrase. So instead of the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, let's change it to bumblebees. Let's just leave it at bumblebees. Simple, short bumblebees. And let's put only 20 bumblebees. So this one, of course, will have, as I just finished compiling it, have a lot shorter output. So it's just really just 1 screen's worth of output. So here I could highlight it all and then hit copy, which means I don't have to then delete the press any key to continue stuff. But I'm going to do the select all option just like I did with the quick brown foxes. We'll copy it all. We'll come back over here. We'll then right click and paste. And now I can delete. Actually, where did I think I just pasted that right in the middle of run 2. So I just did an undo, and I'll do another paste and get it proper. There we go. Delete that. So really, as far as I'm concerned, I'm scrolling all the way to the top here. I've finished my output capture. I'm all good and all finished. So let me just save that. We'll save it as a rich text file document, and we'll overwrite the previous assignment number 1. So really, for all intents and purposes, your output is finished. But you're not. You are not finished. Not finished just yet. The reason is the default font in Wordpad, and it'll be similar if you're using Microsoft Word and TextEdit on the Mac, it's going to choose a default font. The default font is probably not the one you want to use. In this case, Wordpad opened up and it's using Calibri. Calibri is not a very good font. And before I finish this document, I want to set it to a proper font. So the proper fonts, I'll talk about them in just a moment. But what I want to do is highlight here and just drag all the way to the bottom of my quick brown foxes. I'm just scrolling. There we go. Or what I could do, just to make my life easier, click on here, hold down my shift, and then just page down all the way to the bottom and set it to an appropriate font. Appropriate fonts would be, let's see, Consolas is a good font. Courier or Courier New are good fonts. I think Fixed Sys is probably a good font. Any font that has the word mono, so even Monaco, if you have that one on the Mac, I think you have Monaco. Those are good fonts, and I'll describe them in a moment. My favorite font, actually, for all of this is Consolas. I find it's a really nice font for this type of output capture. So really, at this point now, we're finished. We could make this stand out nicely. We could increase the font size there if we wanted to. Let's say 14. It looks all nice. But don't edit the output that you've copied, except for maybe just changing the font. So at this point, our output capture document is finished. I'm going to save it, and that's what I would send over to anything that has to do with an assignment. So let me talk about which fonts are proper. Let me talk about those. I'm going to close down everything except, come on, close down. Baby Genie doesn't like to be shut down that way. Let's close this one down as well. There we go. So let me show you what I mean by proper font. So let me zoom in a little bit. What I'm going to do is put in, let's see, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. So the reason I've done this over multiple lines is I want to show you the difference between one font and another when it comes to something called proportionality. So good fonts for output capture are ones like Consolas, Courier New. If you have a font that has anything that starts off with mono, and on the Macintosh, Monaco is available, so it's actually a good font. Bad fonts are everything else. So all of these fonts up here are called non-proportional, fixed width, or monospaced fonts. All the bad fonts are known as proportional fonts. So let me just highlight these guys. So everything I've written here so far is in the Calibri font. Calibri is not a good font, and let me show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to zoom in even closer. How close can I get here? And I'm going to make these lines right here very close together. All right. I hope you can see that the M takes up way more room than the I. This is a proportional font. So, and the reason, the one we're using is Calibri. It's a bad font. As I said, it's a bad font. But let me copy this text over here. Put it down below. So we've got the proportional font, which is a bad font. And the reason that it's bad is letters take up different amount of space. So things aren't going to line up properly. If you have program output and you're looking at one line or another, the way it looks on the window, the program output window, it's using a good font to do that. But when you copy it over to your output capture document, things aren't going to line up right. And this is the reason. It's called the proportional font is not correct. So let me change this around. I'm going to do some editing here. So this will be a non-proportional. And let's choose Consolas. I'll play around with a couple of good fonts. So for right now, what I want to do is change this phrase so that it's using a good font. Now currently it's using Calibri, so the letters are taking up different amount of space. But let's highlight this. Whoops, don't scroll, stop scrolling. And let's choose Consolas. Where is Consolas? There we go. So now if you look at it, the font looks very similar. It doesn't look that different. The letter style, looks very similar. But now the M, the U, and the I all take up the same amount of room. And if you look at all the letters, they all line up one underneath the other one. And this exactly matches your program output. If we look at the bad font, the P doesn't really look like it's underneath the Q. The T is in between the R and the O. So things don't look right. Things don't look right. We can change it to another font. Well, too much scrolling around. So that is using the Consolas font. We could choose the Courier font. That's a common one for output capture. So again, it's a very ugly looking font. It's an old typewriter style face. Let's try Courier New. Is that better? That's a little better. So the Courier New font, you'll see that all the letters line up. Every letter takes up the same amount of room. So that's why good fonts are non-proportional or fixed width or monospaced. Every character has the same amount of room. Bad fonts are everything else. So when you prepare your output capture document, you make sure that you've set your output capture that you've copied to one of these good fonts. And you can see the difference between these two fonts. This one looks very ordered and very structured. And this is exactly the way the output looks when you run your program. It's exactly the way it looks. So if I go back over here to Genie, we'll run our program again. And what I'm going to do is zoom in to bumblebees, and you will see that the M, the L, the E, the B, all the letters take up the same amount of room, or the equal spacing, if you will, for all the letters. This is using a non-proportional font, and it looks like it's using Consolas. I'm not quite sure. Let's double check. We can ask Windows which font it's actually using, and it's using Consolas. So congratulations to Windows, it's using a proper font when it's producing the output capture for your program. So it's not Genie doing this work, it's actually Windows, or in the Macintosh, it would be the Mac operating system choosing the proper font. So that way, if we change the font to a non-proportional, it means that the output capture that we've captured looks exactly the same. So there you go. You've captured the output for your program. So you could then you could send that output to an instructor. You could print it out, and everything would look proper. So again, congratulations. I hope you have fun programming in Java.